everything's a work in progress. You're not at that next. Everyone wants everything now. So when I started design, I wanted to be out and dropped in straight away. Like, why am I not there? But you've got to realize that it's going to take time. It needs some time. You need some patience. So yeah, everything is a work in progress. You'll get there.
Welcome to the Passion Behind the Art Show. It's all about diving in with individuals to learn the story behind their passion. It's your host, Daryl Pinna.
Well, I'm excited to have Mark Hirons on the Passion Behind the Art Show from Blue Deer Studios. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
I met Mark face-to-face at Creative South. We chatted a bit on the internet, but it was pretty cool, and he made a great first impression, man. And Mark, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, cheers, having me. Yeah, it's good. Creative South is amazing. We met up there and talked a little bit, and afterwards we really kicked it off. And yeah, come on my podcast, come on yours. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes, Mark was gracious enough to have me on his podcast. It's pretty cool to see all that he's been doing. So it's always good. We are all in this together. So I'll see what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he watches what I'm doing, and it just feed off each other's energy. There's room for everyone, man. There's room for everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many cool design podcasts out there at the moment. You absolutely loads. You got obviously the big ones like Debbie Millman's one. You got AID podcast. I think that's what it's called. You got the guys like yourself, like me, the guys trying to uprise and get there. We're gonna get there. We'll be all right.
All right, so let's jump right into it. When did Mark's journey in design start, and how?
Yeah, so at school, so I'm currently 20. At school, back when I was 13, so 7 or so years ago, I discovered graphic design in class, and that's where it all started. I discovered people that made cool stuff, made cool logos, made branding that I looked up to, I still look up to today, and yeah, it's incredible to learn about these people, such as Jock Kinnear and Margaret Calvert, the people that created the British road signs, and then you've got people that like what's his name? Do you edit this? What's his name? Yeah, Wally Ollins, who created the old BT logo, and it's a Piper. Just seeing that Piper in my head, that's one of the first logos I remember, and it really kicked off when you realise about the FedEx logo and the arrow in there. And that's a lot of things. A lot of people, designers, realise that, and that's one of the main things people come back to. But at school, it came back to that. That's when I started, and ever since, I've always had this passion for design.
Cool. And the crazy part is, like, you're 20 and you're just hitting it out the park right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to go for it. Yeah.
Oh man, you're doing great, man. I love your energy and I love all the stuff that you're doing. So what made you decide? Because graphic design is a wide spectrum. Why logo stuck?
Yeah, I think that was my first love, really. I think it's love at first sight, isn't it? if you get into that early on, and I've been doing a bit more illustration recently, but if you get into that early on, then it's what sticks, I think. And telling that story as well. Telling that story about like getting all that meaning of a business and all that things into one little icon. It just sums up so perfectly if you get it right, and it's magical.
Very, very true. Just the whole idea of telling a story through design. I think that's probably the coolest thing about branding and logos, be able to tell a story through design. And I think just the researching part alone is pretty interesting. And I don't think people really understand the amount of research, especially when you're a good designer, the amount of research you do before you even start actually designing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's so much goes into it, from talking to the clients, the hours and hours you put in over emails, and then the discussion call about where you want to go, the design routes, creating mood boards, and that's all before you start sketching and actually thinking about the final outcome. It's crazy.
If you don't put a leash on it, you'll be creating mood boards forever.
Yeah, absolutely. That's happened for college projects and school projects. It goes too far. Yeah.
So, all right. So now you're building this thing. You are building Blue Deer, which is stemmed from your podcast, Creative Waffle. Like,
Yeah.
how did this whole idea to even start a podcast come about?
Yeah, I think it's people like Gary Vee and people, business people, even just watching Joe Rogan podcasts, and it is you sort of want to give it a go yourself. I think I've been sort of a person that goes ahead with stuff and doesn't think about the consequences later on. So podcasts, I'm thinking about the money later on, about how you're going to host it, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, like editing and getting the guests or technical issues, and just think about it later on. Just get the guests and then work out how you're going to tell their story later on. But yeah, how I started it, just people like Gary Vee and Joe Rogan, and people inspiring me to start my own thing and go off and try and do it.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool, because not too often, like when I first heard about podcasting, like it just seemed so daunting to me. Like it just seemed like this big undertaking. And if you like really look at it in like small bits and pieces, it will be a lot more manageable. But at first I was just like, there's no way I have time to sit down and try to figure out this whole podcasting. And literally just one day I just did it. Just one day, just did it. And it's been, as you say, technical difficulties up and down and
all the time. I mean, that's another thing though. I mean, just getting things in front of me, getting opportunities in front of me. I've always been trying to get different opportunities. Like Creative South might help me out, but that's only become on the back of doing the YouTube and getting stuff out there and putting content out there. The opportunities arise. With the podcast, I'm trying to talk to as many big people as possible. So I'm getting a huge guest on for the 100th episode, which I keep banging on about, but it's a very big secret. Until I've recorded it, I won't let anyone know. But yeah, it's all about me talking to these big people and learning as much as I can, and hopefully other people can learn from that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm the same way. Like if I'm close to landing a big person, I literally don't bring it up until we actually do the recording. I just feel like, because it's not official until you record.
Yeah, it's gonna go wrong, or something's gonna happen. It's gonna cancel. And big people as well, they're unreliable. It's like you don't know when they're gonna actually say yes and no. And big meetings could come up. You know, they could have a problem with a client, and it actually needs to be sorted out. And because it's such a big person, that client could be Apple or some absolutely huge company that actually needs to be sorted rather than being on a podcast. So yeah, so many variables. But
it's true, because when I was getting Chris Doe, it took me.
Oh, yeah.
I got a yes, and it took almost 9 months to actually do the recording. He said yes a long time, and it took almost 9 months to do the recording, because just of scheduling and stuff like that. And you know, you could get discouraged and just be like, you know what, forget it. But that's one of the things I tried to do with podcasting has helped me to do, is just not take things too personal.
Right. Yeah. That's really good. I've learned so much as well. Like each episode asks for advice and tell their story, but also try and bring out the most value. And you do it as well. But it's just getting that amount of advice in, but it's trying to soak it all up. There's so much advice you can't always soak it up, so you have to like re-listen to episodes. And yeah, it's really, really good. Like you learn so much from doing it.
So how do you deal with listening back to yourself?
At first, especially on the YouTube videos, that was awful. Like I did YouTube stuff before. I did podcasting for about 2 years, and yeah, that was crazy. Looking back at the old videos, just staying still, looking at the camera, not moving, no emotion, and it was really, really hard to watch, really cringy. If I could go back now, but I've gradually got better at listening to my own voice, and it's just something you have to do. Everyone has it. That's what I learned. So
yeah,
you'll get over it.
Yeah.
How about
you? Me, it took me a while, man. To be honest, like. There were some in the early episodes. I refused to listen back to myself.
Yeah.
I would like try to during recording, I'll pinpoint where like the errors were or stuff were, and I would just go straight to that point. I wouldn't listen to the entire episode because I just didn't want to listen back to my voice. But eventually, as you said, you just get used to hearing yourself talk, and you just like, you know what I mean? But at first, man, it was like, who is this guy?
Sometimes when I'm editing, I always think, oh, why did you say that? What are you doing? Yeah, that's the wrong question. Well, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's fun though.
True, that is true. There's so much to learn from just being able to have a conversation with people and being able to fine tune it. So during this process, what would you say was the hardest struggle you had to overcome?
Yeah, I think the whole situation of living at home still, that's been quite hard. Thinking about family and they're obviously thinking this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to amount to anything. This is just him in his room messing around on a computer, just creating whatever. And I struggle with them doing things to please them. I recently quit a job I'd done for 6 months or so, and I pretty much only took that job to please them and get a bit of money, and so they weren't asking so many questions, and they weren't on my case all the time. And it was good to do. I learned a lot of stuff, and I got a lot of money, which is good. It's helped me fund my new Mac. But yeah, so at some points it probably wasn't worth it. So I think that's one of the hardest things is pleasing family and realizing that you don't have to do that. But living with them and trying to please them is hard.
Yeah, I could imagine, man. I could imagine just being able to. You're in your room and everyone it what we're doing, it's it's a long-term thing.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
like down the road you will see a lot of the fruits. Like you'll get little wins here and there, but the real wins is like down the road, and you're preparing for down the road. And sometimes it's hard for people on the outside to see, because to be honest, they're not going through that mental transformation that you did.
And especially if they're not designers or they're not creators themselves,
Right.
they haven't done this route before. They just got no idea. I mean, I love my family to bits. I don't want to make that.
Right.
I don't want to put that out there as I don't like them. But
trust me,
it can be hard.
we've all been through it, man. Trust me, I've been through it myself. Just people just thinking like, what in the world are you doing? Like, this really doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? But
how have you overcome it then?
well, for me personally, at one point I just stopped caring.
Right.
Just literally stopped caring, and eventually the people, the opportunities and the people that they see come on the show and the opportunities that come from it, they started to say, oh, okay,
You get an understanding.
I get it now. I may not be into it, but I see some of the stuff that you're doing. You know what I mean? And it all happens over time. You know what I mean? It all happens over time because, you're the one with the vision. Usually people don't see your vision. You'd have to probably explain it to them 7 times for them to even grasp what you're trying to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I think it's about showing them. Sorry, so I think it's about showing them. I think it's about showing them that you're actually doing something,
right.
rather than. Because I sit in my room, obviously, not much comes out. They don't see a physical product being made. They don't see what I'm actually doing. They're not researching. They're not looking at what I'm trying to do. They're not worried about that. So, and I'm not doing education anymore, so that's gone. And I haven't got a job to go to. So it's sort of about. They don't see anything. They don't see anything coming from it. So it's all about showing them that. And if I can tell them I've got a new client, then they're really happy, and then they understand that I am actually doing something here.
Right. You'll be like, all you got to do is just tell them, Google me.
There I am on the 3rd page of Google.
So during this process, you know what I mean? Like, who would you say some of the people that, kind of uplift you, give you the support when you feel like you're alone in this journey? Because it can be very lonely at times. Who are those people that you build a support system with?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, actually, in the real world, it's hard to pick people in the real world these days. Everything's online. But in the real world, I've got a few really close friends. After school, I realised that the people that was around, and everyone went to university as well, and we didn't keep in touch. So I realised that they're probably not, they're probably not the best of friends. You don't keep in touch with them; that they'll fade away. And I think that's natural progression as well. You're going to move in and out of friendship groups, and I've made 2 really good friends that I'm constantly back and forth with every single day, and a couple of others as well that are getting nearer that inner circle. But the people online, this is just going to be the normal people that a lot of people say for motivation. I've recently printed out pictures of them, so that making sure they're looking at me. So I'm almost being intimidated by them, as I'm not wasting time. So obviously I've mentioned a couple before: Gary Vee, Joe Rogan. There's a guy called Jocko Willink, who's an ex-Navy SEAL, who's an absolute animal. He's got his own podcast. He's written a few books on discipline, and that's really helped me on that sort of side. They've all got different traits as well. So Jordan Peterson as well for the thinking about things in life and getting really into it. He's a professor of psychology at Toronto University in Canada, and you've got Conor McGregor up there as well, just for the confidence aspect of it, and his personality is on another level. And then you've got Aaron Draplin as well. So there's 6 people. Aaron Draplin, again, personality and the design of it is like a graphic design god, isn't he? It's crazy.
Right. That's true. It's kind of cool how Draplin has turned himself into, a brand. Like, he's turned himself into actual brand, and it's pretty cool because, a lot of times, you have people that build brands, you have people that have a personal brand, but he's like all of them combined into one. He's a personal brand, he is a business regular brand all in one, and he builds brands. So it's just really cool how he's like his name is a brand in itself, which is cool.
I think it's not even that. Like, it's just meeting him in person. If you actually get to meet him, just being a nice guy,
right?
Just a genuine,
regular dude.
Man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
really, really good to see your heroes, because you get people at the top of their game like Paula Scher. I've met Paula Scher. She's really, really nice, but that's probably bad examples. Like people that I haven't met, Lance Wyman or other people at the very top, that you sort of get a feeling that they're not going to stick around after talks. They're not going to talk to the crowd. But people with Aaron Draplin is different. It's like, I want to be like that. I don't want to have a talk and then go straight away. I want if I do talks, but it's all about being an actual person and being friendly, and it's being a nice guy.
Yeah, it's cool. So as you're building this now, what is like the first hour of your day like?
Yeah, this is something I thought about recently, and you probably tell that all this stuff that I'm talking about, I'm only just getting into it and really trying to find who I am. But the first hour of my day now, starting from yesterday, is I'm trying to work out routines and stuff, but it's mobility and a little bit of stretching, getting my brain awake, maybe a little bit of exercise, but it's hard to drag yourself to the gym as soon as you just got up. So I got a foam roller down there, a little tennis ball to do a little bit of stress relief on my back, and a few stretches just to get the body moving. I think that really gets me awake. After that, that's probably like 10-15 minutes. After that, I will be on my phone looking at normal stuff like social media, as everyone does, seeing notifications, getting that hit of dopamine that everyone has. I'm going to try and move away from that. That's bad for you, though. You've got to have your phone on airplane mode for the first hour. Because if nothing comes in, then you don't get that dopamine hit, you're going to feel bad. It sets you up for a bad day. So I think I'm going to start doing airplane mode for the first hour. Obviously have a shower and brush your teeth and have breakfast. That's obviously what happens. But I skipped over that a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna try and maybe read or I don't know, do something a bit more productive rather than looking through social media and scrolling. I'm going to try and say this and put it out there, and hopefully I'll start doing it. But
right.
We'll see. It's hard. It's that discipline. It's all about going back to what Jocko Willink says and getting that discipline. It's something that I'm working on.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And sometimes, like I try to do it in spurts because I don't want to, because you tend to be so hard on yourself sometimes when you kind of peel it back. Yeah. But anytime I feel like I'm not happy with something, or I feel like I didn't get something done, I always look at, what did I do? Did I watch a show? So it's just like, if you choose to do something, you got to just be able to live with the consequences of it. You know what I mean? So If I choose to just be super focused, that means I'm gonna miss out on sports. I'm gonna miss out on the shows. If I choose to kind of lay back and watch a show, that means the consequences, I'm not gonna get something done that I would like to get done. And as long as I can live with those both spectrums, I think that's much more healthy, because sometimes you could be so like down on yourself. Oh my gosh, man, I didn't even get this done, and I didn't get to put this artwork out there. I didn't get to work on this personal project, you know. So
I think that's a good point. Like, let's go back to that point where you got to love yourself and be your own critic as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give yourself the praise, but then at times when you're on social media scrolling and you are literally doing nothing at 1 a.m.
literally.
you gotta say that this is enough. I've got to go to bed now.
Well, I try not to do that. I try not to do too much scrolling. If anything, my relaxing will be either watching sports or just watching a good movie or a TV show. Outside of that, I'm working on something of the many things that I'm trying to do. So outside of that, I don't really try to scroll, because eventually you're just going to be like, man, I'm a creator. I'm here consuming like crazy.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Everyone gets into that situation that you must have it when you're sitting in bed in the morning or something, and you go for Instagram and you're on the Instagram videos.
Those videos, man, oh my
one after the
gosh.
other.
Those videos on Facebook and Instagram, it's just like this wormhole that you just sucked in, and you just like video after video after video.
Yeah, they keep playing. Like, why? That's such a clever thing. Just keeping you on the app, keeping you engaged. Not even engaged, you're not engaged, but keeping you on the app and keeping you watching, like mindless watching. It's so bad for you. But everyone does it. Like, these social media apps are built for attention and consuming time.
And you see, what I try to do though, a lot of times, is dissect these things. How can I recreate that for what I'm trying to do?
Right.
Because cool. you know what I mean? Because technically, that's ideally, we all would want that. All of us who are creators, for someone to be stuck on our thing, our platform, our book, our website, our podcast. We all want that, for that person to be stuck there like a mindless zombie. Just the only difference is that we are trying to put more value into what we are putting out there. But ideally, you would want someone to be on that long line, that Apple line, trying to get your product and all that stuff. You want all that. So I try to reverse engineer it. Like, what are they doing? You know?
Yeah, I do in a way. I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't want it to be mindless though, because I want them to be taking notes and just, even if they got it on in the background, I want them to hear something and think that that was a really good tip. Maybe I'll try and implement that in my own life. But if it's mindless and they're just not thinking, it's just background noise, which is good as well. I put on podcasts and just don't really listen. It's just background noise. I can't really sit with silence. So it's, but that does happen. But then you'll hear something, you'll pick something up and think that's really good.
Yeah.
I'll try and listen to it more.
It's true. So book recommendations. Some book recommendations.
Yeah. Okay, the first one, I'll show the camera. There's a pretty big shelf full of books. It's nowhere near, I know you had Logo Geeky and Paget on. He's got a hell of a bookshelf. He's got a really good bookshelf. It's really expensive ones too, like really rare, like, crazy design books he spent tons of money on. But my favourite one is Work for Money, Design for Love.
Oh, David, I just had him on too.
Yeah, I saw. I can't. Is that podcast out?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Right, I'm going to go listen to
Episode
that.
80.
But yeah, make sure everyone else listens to it as well. Everyone listening to this, go and listen to that. But yeah, Work for Money, Design for Love, fantastic book. You probably read it as well. Just give you a little bit of a step into graphic design, answers most of the questions that you have before you start. I read this in a day on a tube train to my college, so it's incredible. Really, really good book, and it wants you to keep reading. It makes you want to keep reading. It's one of the only design books that I've read that really has engrossed me in the book. I've made notes in it. I've sketched stuff from it and had so many ideas. So it's a really good book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's definitely a good book. David has some really insightful books, and it's just not only. I like how he goes about creating his books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I really like how he goes about just kind of getting other people's perspectives and just, kind of putting it all together. So yeah, that's a good book. That's a good book. I like that. So what is next for Mark?
Yeah, next for me, I think it's just keeping going. To be honest, I think it's just sitting in my room and seeing how much happens. Trying to get a bit more disciplined and cracking out some good design work.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So what are some of the strategies you're doing to build your YouTube channel? Because right now, like, building YouTube is like a daunting task.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you don't come in at the very start of it. We
Right.
don't come in at a very trend. Because I look at people like Will Patterson and the future. God, they're doing a crazy job. I mean, obviously they're a team of designers. They're a team doing it, and like, it's really expensive cameras, and I'm just one man pumping out 1 minute videos. But yeah, it's strategies. So I watched a YouTube tutorial on a website called Creative Life, and it gave me some really good insight of how to use tags and loads of other things that actually help your videos boost in rankings. So that's really good. I've been learning a lot about the game of YouTube. I think if anyone wants to try and start a YouTube channel, I think that's probably the way to go first. Learning about the thumbnails, learning about the tags and the video title and the first line of the description, even naming the file the same name as the YouTube title is really important for SEO. So yeah, learning the game of it. And there's a website called TubeBuddy as well, which I've signed up for, which is really, really good. It tells you and gives you tips as you go along. It's quite cheap as well. So and it's sort of like a Google Chrome extension. So as you're watching videos, it'll pop up like next to it and give you all the lowdown on all the stats. So it's a really, really good, really good thing. So I've been learning a lot about the back end of YouTube. So that's what I'm doing to grow.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool.
Picking up trends as well. You got to pick up design trends, like latest books. If you wanted to grow a design YouTube specific, latest books, latest design news. Try and be the first to all of it.
Yeah, makes sense. So as we're getting ready to close, what advice would you have for creatives or anyone, you know what I mean, that's trying to build something?
Yeah, I mean, trying to build something, you got to just go for it. I got a tattoo a year ago or so, and it just says belief in action. And every time I look at that, I'm like, oh, I know I'm heading in the right direction. You just got to believe what you want to do, and then go in that direction, and really not take your focus off of it if you know that's what you want to do. So if you want to try and build something, belief in action. But then you got some more practical advice. Maybe backing up your files every now and then. You've got to do that. I had that problem with an iMac, and luckily I backed it all up. So definitely back up your files. If you're listening to this, do it now. Like, it's so important. Even if you're just saving your file, I can't understate it enough. Like, can't overstate that. So doing that. And then last thing would be, everything is a work in progress. Don't get too harsh on yourself. It's good to be your own critic and realize where you're going wrong, but everything's a work in progress. You're not at that next. Everyone wants everything now. So when I started design, I wanted to be Aaron Draplin straight away. Like, why am I not there? But you've got to realize that it's going to take time. It needs some time. You need some patience. So yeah, everything is a work in progress.
Yeah, that's the
You'll
truth.
get there.
That's the truth. I love it, man. Well, Mark, where can people go to learn about what you're doing, all that you got going on?
Yeah, so this is it. This is what I come on here for. Don't muck it up. Right. So, Creative Waffle Podcast. You've got that. Please take a listen. Feedback's great as well if you want to get involved in the show. That's the one place I would love people to go from this. Maybe start with our podcast. That'd be really good. And also, you got Blue Deer Design everywhere else. Say hello. That's it.
Nice.
2 links.
Nice. Well, Mark, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. You're a cool dude. I mean, I love everything that you're doing, man. Just keep it up. Love your personality, man. Thanks again for coming on.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode. I really appreciate you taking the time out. I hope, you got something from it, that it brought you value, and you were able to pull some key tips, some key practices that can help you to take your career to the next level, and just to
elevate your mindset in general. If you want to learn about everything that I'm doing, you can go to dpcreates.com. That's D as in dog, P as in Peter, creates.com. Or go to the podcast website. That's passionbehindtheart.com. Thanks again for listening to this week's episode. Be blessed.